Good day, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Deep Freeze, episode 11. Episode 11. Come out. Man, it's good to be here. It's good to be sitting. It's good to be in your ears, I guess. That's something. Hey, that's something to think about, to be sitting in your ears. For all those, I guess, that are listening on whatever platform you get your podcasts on, I'm sitting in your ears. For those of you that are on YouTube checking this thing out, howdy YouTube. Welcome to the first one. Also, for those of you that are on YouTube, you will see that you're in my lovely garage. We're doing a garage cast, and I think going forward, we're going to do them all out here. That way I don't, wake up a sleeping baby, a sleeping wife. Not that it's late. It's like 8:30. But 8:30 is bedtime when you got a baby. Baby goes to bed, we go to bed. We get those 8 hours, son. I'm trying to get those 8 hours, but here we are, recording, giving you guys Listen, I'm missing out on sleep for this. And there's nothing I'd rather be doing than here chatting with you guys. Toast, YouTube. Cheers. We got something to keep the whistle wet. Listen, welcome to this episode. Welcome to episode 11. Before we get into what's been going on, thank you to everyone that has been reaching out over the last 2 or 3 episodes to give me your feedback. I really do appreciate it. I want to be able to bring you what you guys want to hear. Obviously, it's my podcast, but I do really love the feedback in what you guys like about certain episodes, what you don't like about certain episodes, and so keep doing it. Whether that's on the Deep Freeze 20 on Instagram, T Freeze 31 on Instagram, whether you're in Spotify, leave a review on the podcast, and also, guys, let's share the shit out of this. Right? Let's share the absolute shit out of this episode. I shouldn't curse because I'm on YouTube now, and we're within the first 5 minutes. So, not that I'm getting monetized anyway, but something to think about anyway. Nonetheless, something to think about. Man, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get this episode out before Monday. I like to give you guys a little Monday morning, something to get your week started, right? Something to, you might wake up Monday morning and think, what a bullshit week. I got to go work for the man. I got to go punch that clock. Maybe you work for yourself, but you still think I got to go punch that clock. Well, hopefully this podcast makes things a little bit easier and gives you a great start to your week. But yeah, I wasn't sure if was going to get this episode out. Our household's been a little bit sick, so if you hear me kind of coughing or if I sound a little congested or a little deeper voiced, maybe it sounds like I have that smooth jazz voice. Probably not, but yeah, been a little bit under the weather here at our household. That's okay. We're doing it. We're doing the damn thing. Rain, shine, sleet, or snow. We're like the mailman. We still got to deliver, and that's what we're doing. And that's what we're doing this week, right? We're going to deliver this week. It's going to be a good week. Man, speaking of snow, what has been going on here in Manitoba with this winter? Like, listen, when you think of Manitoba snow, when you think of Manitoba winter, right? You think -40, blustering snow, 4 feet of it piled up. almost thinking you're in an igloo. You're thinking maybe you got to walk 5 miles uphill both ways, barefoot. Does anyone else dads tell them that? That's what my dad still tells me to this day. Oh, back when I was a kid, I had to walk to school 5 miles both ways uphill, barefoot, 4 feet of snow. But man, it's been this winter's been crazy. It's been warm. It's been chill. Tell me you're a millennial without telling me you're a millennial because you just use the word you just use the word chill. What have I become? What have I become? What am I doing? I'm too old to be using the word chill. Unbelievable. But yeah, this winter has been something different. It's been mild. It's been mild. I know guys that have like put on 30 kilometers on their sled, if that. Brand new sleds, and they're barely getting 30K on. Come on. What are we doing? Huh? Winter? What are we doing? I won't complain. I've been working outside lots this winter, but what are we doing? Either be winter or be nothing, or just be summer. Be winter or be summer. That's what I'm saying. Man, what's been going on with me? Just been the usual. Busy with work. Work's been busy. We're out here grinding. We're doing things. We're moving up ladders. Not physically moving up ladders because I think I mentioned in an episode I'm in a knee brace, so I can't be climbing ladders. But we're moving up corporate ladders. Figuratively, we're moving up ladders. Uh, Honestly, just been yeah, kind of dove headfirst into work here for this last 2 weeks, and uh, been grinding. Been working on my businesses, which for those of you that don't know, I've started a couple little. Maybe I shouldn't say businesses. That makes it sound like an official thing. I have started a couple side hustles, you could call them. Something that I enjoy doing, and one of them is in construction and getting to work on some really cool projects, which is something that I've always enjoyed. I've always liked a little bit of weekend work here and there. Put a little jingle in your pocket if that's the kind of thing you're into. It's the kind of thing I'm into. I like having a little change in my pocket, little coffee money, if you will. But yeah, so I've been kind of just working on my businesses. Made my first big purchase for my business. I bought myself a new truck. Bought myself a 2024 GMC AT4X. No, I did not buy myself a 2024 GMC AT4X. One day I will. One day I will have. I've made it a goal for myself to one day buy a brand new vehicle off a lot. I don't know why that's something that's important to me, but it just is. No, I bought myself a 2000, not even 2000s, brother. It's a 1993 GMC. No, not a Sierra. GMC C3500 regular cab dually. We're talking wide, big rear end, big rear end. Um, yeah, bought myself a little single cab dually. Honestly, it's been a truck I've wanted for a long time, and I found a really good deal on one, and it was in really good shape, and you know, spring's right around the corner. Got some work to do, so we pulled the trigger on it, and that was kind of the first big purchase that I've made for the. I mean, it's not just for the business, but that is kind of the purpose of it. It's also a daily, but more so to be able to pull a little bit of a bigger trailer and whatever. Not that truck, not that a 93 regular cab dually is going to pull what a modern day diesel will, but it's a cool little truck. It's got the 6.5 liter Detroit turbo diesel, infamously known for being a great engine. That's sarcasm, but no, it's a really cool truck. I really enjoy it. I love the single cab, and then pair it with a dually. It looks cool rolling down the road, and it turns heads, and honestly, it puts a smile on my face. You know, my dad would probably he's told me this many points in growing up that life's too short to drive boring things, right? Drive cool shit, and that thing is cool. I think it's cool. So if you see a white single cab dually rolling through the streets and the roads of southern Manitoba, chuck a wave out the window, flag me down, say hi. We'll chat. We'll talk about it. Come take a tour of the thing. You got to stay hydrated when you're sitting here talking to a mic. Yeah, so kind of been busy with that, getting my summer booked in and lined up and getting quotes lined up and ready for clients, and obviously, still looking for a few more. So if you guys have any construction related items, some projects you want to at least just get a quote on, give me a shout. That business is actually called Prairie Horizon. So if you want to go on Instagram while you're following the Deep Freeze 20 and T Freeze 31 while you're on Instagram, jump on over and follow Prairie Horizon. You can put that in the search bar and then follow us. You'll see some of the stuff that we worked on last year. That business has kind of been something I've done for a number of years, but just started making it kind of official here in the last year or two. And then there's another one that I'm working on. I'm maybe not quite ready to talk about that one yet, but that's well, I guess I can talk about it. It's in the very early stages of I guess I would say development. It's a custom harvesting, custom acres business. So my whole goal is to do, obviously I'd like to get into some of my own acres, farm some of my own stuff, but I'd like to be able to do some custom combining, custom tillage, custom planting eventually, planting or seeding, maybe some custom drainage down the line. But that's kind of the second business that I'm working on now. That one's taking, we're definitely taking our sweet time with that. So making sure that we do it right. I want to be set up and ready for that one because I feel like once that one gets started, it's going to be, gung ho, all hands on deck. And that's not saying that I hate what I do now. I really, really love what I do now, but I've always loved the idea of working for myself and being able to provide for my family by working for myself and honestly just doing cool shit. So that's kind of my mentality with both of these, both Prairie Horizon and the Custom Acres side of things is just do cool shit and enjoy it. And they say it's a saying as old as time, you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. So it's kind of my mentality behind it. Yeah, it's kind of just what I've been working on over the last bi-weekly 2 weeks. So also a little bit of housekeeping. For those of you that voted on Spotify, I put a poll up for what the nickname should be for the listeners. I want to say thank you to everyone that voted. However, I had a suggestion come in, and I think it beats everything else. I suggested the suggestion was freezies. And as tacky as that is, I think that's fucking mint. I think that's wicked. So I think the Freezies. I think that's what we're gonna go with. I think that's it. I'm in. I'm all in on that one. So thank you. Huge shout out to Jalen Ross for that one. There'll be a prize. We'll figure out a prize here. Oh, something. We'll get you something. I really wish I had something off the top of my head to give us a prize. Yeah, shout out Jalen for that one. I think that's the best one. So that will be the nickname for you guys going forward. Will be the Freezies. Couple cream soda Freezies, huh? Those are my favorite. I love it. Oh man, the nostalgia, brother. Do you remember being knee high to a grasshopper? Summer vacation, right? Let me set the scene. Okay, it's summer vacation, right? You don't have to go to school. You're out of school. It's like mid-July, right? You've slept in. You're young. You're young. You're 9, 10. You've slept in. Maybe you went outside a little bit. You rode your bike around. You found your buddies. Right? You found all your buddies' bikes parked at another buddy's house. So you pedaled over there and you jump in and you're with them, right? And then somebody's mom comes out with this freaking massive armful, or even better, the box of Freezies, right? And everybody dives in head first. Okay, they dive in head first and they're ripping out blues and they're ripping out reds and maybe a purple there if you had the right box. And you reach in that little freaking sharp-ass cardboard box and you pull out this magical white Freezy. God damn, there's no better feeling than getting a white Freezy. Right? Because your mouth isn't going to be all stained. Right? You're not going to look like you were sucking off a Smurf because your shit's all blue. You're not going to look like you're bleeding because you got red dye everywhere. No, you just got this perfect, sweet, white Freezy. And depending how they were cut, you were going to end up bleeding anyway because, man, you guys remember the corner of your mouths? If you didn't cut those, so like if somebody was really quick trying to hand out Freezies, you just snip it right off the top, right? You cut a little bit off the top, that half inch, boom, off the top, hand it to you, and you start piling that thing back, right? But if you were smart, you cut the corners at a 45, or else you'd cut the shit out of your mouth. Like, I'm damn near 30 years old, and I still cut the shit out of my mouth if I don't cut them 45s in, right? Man, what a trip. Man, what a trip down memory lane getting that freaking Freezy. Like, the hottest day, and you'd get a Freezy, dog? Oh, that's living. Man, makes me want to have a damn Freezy. I'm going to go buy a box of Freezies. Shit, dude. Those are the things in life that make me happy. Not Freezies in general. Not Freezies specifically, but like, you ever just like walk down memory lane? Like, do you ever just think about I don't know. You ever just walk down memory lane? I love it. Or you see something that like triggers a memory from back in the day. Freaking Freezies, dude. So I guess maybe the prize. Now I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. One thing I've made it a goal of mine for the next X amount of months is to get some merch out there. I would like to get some sweaters. I'd like to get some hats, maybe something, some merch. So, Jalen, I know you're going to listen to this. You will have sweater number 3 off the press because obviously I'm going to get number 1. And my wife's going to get number 2. But Jalen, you'll get number 3. you'll get number 3. For those of you also, well, you know what? Let's just do this. Shout out Jalen. Listen, if you guys, while you're over there on Instagram, go follow Jalen Maria Photography. She's done our family pictures, really great friends of ours. But did our family pictures and did my boys' newborn shoot. This lady is phenomenal behind the camera. So go over there and make sure you follow her on that one. Part 1 of the prize is a shout out. Part 2, you'll get the 3rd sweater rolling off. But that'll be maybe the next poll on Spotify. So make sure you guys go over to Spotify and vote on it. Would you guys rather? So I'm for sure going to do sweaters. I think a good hoodie goes a long way. Hats or toques? That's the question. Hats, and actually, we'll make it a 3-part question. Snapbacks, flex fits, or toques? Those will be the 3 questions on this episode. So if you guys are not listening on Spotify, go over to Spotify and vote on that, and then we'll pick out of that vote. And then, while you're over there, leave a review and comment what color you guys would like to see. And don't hit me with the black. Everyone does a black, right? No blacks, no grays. Give me something unique, right? The color that I pick, we'll get a sweater. How's that sound? Okay? How's that sound? So head on over to Spotify. Make sure you guys do that. Follow Jalen. Thanks for the freezies. Well, other than, working on the businesses, buying a truck, which shout out to Jalen's husband, came and picked it up with me. Other than that, not too much. Obviously, trying to get better, trying to feel better. Just recovering, feeling better, taking vitamin C's, trying to get that immune system back, help that thing fight the good fight. So, listen, couple. I wanted to do something a little bit different on this episode, and for those of you that don't like sports, feel free to skip past this part. But I want to get into the world of sports a little bit, just because I do thoroughly enjoy sports. Obviously, first and foremost, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs on their back-to-back Super Bowl. Well, their second Super Bowl win, obviously going back-to-back. That game was... Listen, for those of you that said that game was boring, take a hike. Right? Figure it out. That was a perfect Super Bowl game between the 2 best teams in the NFL. I don't want to hear for your Ravens. No. 2 best teams in the NFL. Okay. Now, admittedly so, I am a bit of a Chiefs bandwagon fan. Now, hold on. Before you guys all pile on me for this. Okay. I am a Chiefs bandwagon fan because I like Patrick Mahomes. It has nothing to do with anything else. I like Mahomes. I like Kelsey. I like Andy Reid as a coach. And I like some of the supporting cast that's there. Right. When it comes to football, I'm a newer fan, I would say. It's not like I've been following it for 20 years and grew up in a football household. In fact, I grew up in the opposite. My household hated football. I don't even think we watched the Grey Cup. Right? So I'm a bit of a new fan. So I haven't really picked a team. I just like players, if that makes any sense. Now, I will say, going into that Super Bowl, I was happy either way with the outcome. I think it would have been really cool to watch Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy win a Super Bowl, to watch CMC, the Great White Hope. That's how a white man runs a football. Win a Super Bowl. and that stacked team that they have. I mean, between CMC and Brock Purdy and Debo, George Kittle, just they have a great team. Nick Bosa, highest paid defensive player in history. Would have been cool to watch them win the Super Bowl. However, like I said, big Pat Mahomes fan. Love what he can do. Congrats to them. Now, it wasn't without controversy. I mean, Kelsey roid raged on Andy Reid there, bumped him over. But anyway, it's been 2 weeks since that happened, or 3 weeks since that happened. Also, the shooting in Kansas City, my heart goes out to everyone that was involved in that. Terribly sad to think that somebody would take such a time of celebration. It's sad, and my heart goes out for the people that were lost and injured. You know, it just goes to show you that, I mean, evil will always find a way, right? Not to Debbie down this episode, this podcast, but it did happen, and my heart goes out to those people, and also huge props to the people that put their lives on the line to stop the shooter. That's incredible. The bravery to just, you know, throw caution to the wind and literally put your life on the line to bring a guy like that down. That's, you know, huge round of applause for those people involved with that. Another thing that came up, and listen, I wanted to talk about this. You know, I played some pretty competitive hockey over the years, and was not that great at it. But you know, I was watching some highlights of the Leafs game when Ridley Gregg took that slap shot into the empty net. Now, listen, I'm sure that, like, this is obviously after Morgan Rielly's 5-game suspension already. It's all been kind of dealt with, but I kind of wanted to give my take on this because I think I have I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence with this, right? So, on one hand, being a hockey player, right? Or was a hockey player, I should say. There is an unwritten rule that you do not do stupid shit like that. I understand it's the Battle of Ontario, right? I understand emotions are running high. What are you proving taking a slap shot into an empty net from the frickin' hash marks? What are we frickin'... what are we doing? Right? Like, what... Ooh, big tough guy. Big NHL player can take a slap shot to an empty net. Sit the fuck down. Right? Like, what are we doing? And I, you know, wholeheartedly sit here today still. Morgan Rielly had every right and every reason to go over there. Now, the cross-check's a little much. Right? That can cause some damage. You're talking about a dental bill. We all remember what happened with Todd Bertuzzi. You know, granted, that wasn't a cross-check. That was him burying his head into the ice. But there's a lot of things that could go wrong that would severely alter both those players' lives by throwing a cross-check. But I love the response. Again, short of the cross-check. I love that Morgan Rielly went over there and absolutely tuned him up. Mint. Because for the first time, and I'm not a Leafs fan by any stretch of the imagination, they're pissed off that they lost. They're showing some emotion, right? Yes, you have to accept the loss. It happened. But when somebody does something like that, absolutely. You take exception. It's no different than a guy skating around taking a drink out of the goalie's water bottle. And now I'm a little biased because I was the goalie, right? I got rubber discs hurtled to my head at stupid fast speeds. But I loved that. I absolutely loved the response. Right? Think of it. If there was a goalie in the net and it was an offside call, and the guy dipsy doodled around and buried the puck, right? Just shot it into the net. Absolutely, that's a fight on sight. That's a Donnybrook. Drop them, square up, and you're going to get your teeth pounded in. Nobody would have batted an eye. But because it's an empty net goal and there's a cross check, and I think that is the important piece, is the cross check. I think if it wasn't a cross check, I don't think he's getting 5 games. I think the cross check looks a little bit. You're swinging a weapon out there. It really is. If you want to see what can be done with a stick, go on YouTube and look up some of just type in NHL dirtiest plays. There's 2 pieces of equipment they use: the stick and the skate. Right? There's a video somewhere, and I can't remember who it is. I should try and find it, but I know it's on Donald Brashear. Some guy skates over and just lumberjack 2-hand baseball swing right upside the ear. And Donald Brashear goes lights out, limp. Well, actually, he was pretty stiff, but lights out. And there's been you listen, you read stories of like Eddie Shore, how they would carve guys up. They'd use the blade and they'd jab them in the cheekbones, or like they were almost like trying to gouge eyes out. I mean, that was a rough game back then. But you're swinging around a weapon out there, as well as skating around on 2 knives strapped to the bottom of your feet. Dangerous weapons. But no, do I think the 5 games was warranted? I mean, yes and no. I think a suspension was warranted. I don't necessarily agree with the 5. Like, I think the 5 games because of the cross check, sure, I can get behind that. I can understand that. But I don't think there should have been a suspension for going after him. I think it's 5 games just for the cross check. If Morgan Rielly would not have cross checked him and just went after him, dropped the mitts and beat him to a pulp, no problem. I'm sure the NHL would give him a suspension, but no problem. And I'd be curious to hear from anyone else that's played hockey, especially at a pretty competitive level. If you've played hockey at a pretty competitive level, please reach out somehow reach out to me. I'd love to hear your take. And even better yet, if you'd like to call in, because I can do that with this setup that I'm running, if you want to call in and give your opinion, we can do that too. I would love to hear from someone who has some experience in playing some higher level hockey. Like, I don't need an NHL pro to call in, but I also don't want the guy that played, U14, which that's not what it was called back when I was playing hockey. But somebody who played up to U14 and then played beer league or rec league the rest of their lives. Like, I'd like to hear from somebody with some actual experience in higher level hockey. I don't know, man. I think the suspension was, like, part of me thinks, yeah, the suspension was warranted just for the cross check. Some of it I obviously don't agree with. I do think that it's absolutely okay to stand up for your team in a moment like that, and I think it shows. I understand how someone could look at that and say it's selfish on the team aspect, one of your best defensemen taking a run like that, but I also think that that's part of being in a leadership role on a sporting team, is you kind of have to stand up for the team in moments like that. So that's my hot take. It's my hot take of the day. Hot take of the day. Morgan Rielly shouldn't have been suspended. Clip that shit. Before I forget, I know I say this all the time, and I've been saying it lots this episode, but I'm using some new software to record this episode. I'm using a platform that allows me to do YouTube and the voice recording kind of simultaneously, as opposed to how I was doing it before, which the way I was doing it before, or at least trying to do it before, was very time consuming. It was really hard to, for example, for me to edit a 1 hour podcast was taking me 4 to 5 hours worth of, well, probably closer to 4 hours worth of editing between the podcast itself, publishing the podcast, and getting, making sure all the notes and everything were correct, as well as editing the YouTube video and getting the notes right there, and then getting everything uploaded in a timely manner. This new software that I'm using, which if it works well, I will happily shout out. I guess there'll probably be a watermark somewhere on here. I'm using, it's called Riverside. So essentially what it is it's allowing me to record on multiple cameras. So YouTube, you'll see multiple cameras. There's one in front of me, there's one off to the side, so I can do the classic John Krasinski in The Office. Look over. So this is actually, it's. I'm hoping it's going to streamline and make it a little bit easier for me to do both YouTube and the audio side. However, my fear is that the audio might suffer a little bit. So if it does, if you guys listen to episode 10 and go, oh, wow, that was crystal clear, and then listen to now this episode and go, well, it sounds a little different, please reach out, let me know, because I can easily go back to my other software, and it's my other software is what I use is Audacity, and Audacity is super simple to use. It's the editing part of it is really great. It's super powerful for what you need it to do. This is just hopefully going to streamline, and this is also going to allow me to do stuff on Instagram and TikTok if I choose to do that, and whatever else. So please let me know if anything is a little bit different on this one, if it just sounds worse, I don't know. If anything's different at all and you guys are not happy with it, please let me know. But this is actually the second recording. I guess this is the second recording that I've done on Riverside now. We've done one episode of the Farming Feud on Riverside, which maybe I should give a little bit of an update to the Farming Feud as we are getting dangerously close to release date. I feel like I was doing better with not saying but then if I kind of actually think about it, I don't think I have been. I think I've been probably getting worse. Update on the Farming Feud. So we have had some technical difficulties. Our first two episodes, as well as the pilot, have had some really, really bad audio. And I'm not entirely sure what we're going to end up doing with it yet. We, at one point, had thought maybe we take some of the clips from episode 1 and 2 and make them into a trailer, release that as a trailer, and then just go the pilot and episode 1. So our third episode that we recorded would be episode 1. But I don't know if I want to do that because there's kind of some timeline conversations that we've had about it, like on the podcast. So like some of the things that we talked about in episode 1, we talked about in episode 2, and episode 2, obviously in episode 3, and stuff like that. So I don't want things to get crazy out of order, but I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for what we do with that one. I don't want to lose because there's really like they're good episodes. It's just the recording along the line somewhere has gotten a little bit shaky, and I'll say it's more with probably my equipment than it is Brad's. Like Brad's is super clear and super crisp. Essentially, what's happening is my voice is picking up on his side of it, so that's tough. That's really tough. So we are still going to release here early March, first week March, but just so you guys know, I'm not 100% sure on how I'm going to do that just quite yet. I might just release episode 1 and episode 2 in back-to-back weeks and then go to our bi-weekly release at that point, but we'll see. I'll make sure there'll for sure be one more episode of the deep freeze before the farming feud goes fully live. So I will make sure that you guys are well aware. That I keep saying, I don't know if I've actually talked. I think I talked about it on the last episode, but the farming feud is now on Instagram, so you can find our Instagram page. You can go see our logo, which is up there. I will for YouTube. I will link that down below. And I will also link our YouTube channel down below, as we will have YouTube on that one for episode 3. So 1 and 2 and the pilot will not have any video, but episode 3 will have. So that is kind of the farming feud update. That's been a little frustrating, honestly. It sucks when, actually this episode I had about 30 minutes. I had about 30 minutes recorded previously, and sometime it stopped actually recording and froze and wouldn't stop, and I couldn't preview it. It wasn't uploading. So that kind of sucks. That's the one so far. That's the one downside I've seen to using the software that I use. But hopefully, I did a little bit of updating here and changed a few settings. So hopefully that we don't have that problem again. Hopefully this is all coming through the way it's supposed to. But it's always that's the hard part in changing software or changing really what you're used to, is you're kind of taking a risk on things like that, right? I I tend not to listen to my own episodes that much. That's not exactly true, I guess. I listened to them once, only to. And I'm not even really listening to me talk. I'm more listening to the audio, making sure that levels sound good and I don't sound muffled or whatever. So other than that once, I really don't listen to the episodes at all, because I don't know a single person that loves hearing themselves talk on a recording, which is weird because I have a podcast. Not only do I have a podcast, I have multiple podcasts. You would think I would like hearing myself talk, but I don't. I really don't. I am. Yeah. So that's kind of the tech update on the farming feud. Also, I do want to say, for the deep freeze right now, I have locked in. I don't say locked in. I've got some really cool guests coming on here. Planning. We're planning summer, so they're a little ways away yet. Spring, summer, sometime. Once the weather kind of gets nice and it's a little more enjoyable to record in the garage. But I have some really cool guests coming on that I'm super excited to bring you guys, from like 100 different fields. So we've got, another construction guy coming on. We've got some outdoors people coming on. We got a politician coming on. We've got some really cool guests lined up for the next few months. So thank you guys. Thanks to you guys that keep listening every week for making this possible. Because if this podcast got 5-10 listens every other week, it wouldn't be possible. But we're starting to get up there. Obviously, the more consistent we are, the better it'll be. What also helps with that, share the shit out of the podcast, right? If you're listening to it, chuck it up on Instagram, chuck it up on your TikTok, put it on Facebook, put it on, I don't know, put it on Skype. Do people still use that? I don't know. Kick. You guys remember Kick? It was like WhatsApp before WhatsApp was a thing. Put it on WhatsApp. Share it with everyone. Share the absolute daylights out of this podcast. I'd really appreciate that. Listen, we're gonna sign off. This has been a time. Glad we could talk some sports. Give my very brief opinions on two of the bigger things that have happened in sports as of late. We went over the farming feud, took a trip down memory lane, talked about Manitoba Winters, and we kind of covered it all. Kind of covered it all on this week's episode. So, look, YouTube, it's been a slice. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you that are on whatever other platform you're on, whether that be Spotify, Apple, Overcast, wherever you get them, head on over to YouTube. Watch the video side of it. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment. Like, comment, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, follow, rate 5 stars, share the absolute shit out of this thing. Let's take the deep freeze to the moon this year. Stay tuned for all the guests. Shout out to everyone that has given me feedback over this last couple weeks. Cheers to you guys. We will see you guys, and we'll see YouTube. We'll see you guys on the next one. Listeners, you'll hear me on the next one. How does that sound? Have a good night. Have a good day. Have a good morning. Whatever you're up to, be safe. Tell someone you love them. Give someone a hug. Life's too short to drive. Life is too short to not drive cool shit. So drive cool shit.